Hi everyone, it's Angela here from Gracefield Physio Pain Slayers, and I'm going to be going through a few exercises that we do in our Pilates class for prenatal girls. So girls that are preparing for birth and preparing their body for pregnancy. These are the exercises that we like to do in our class. So I'm going to run through them fairly quickly just to give you an idea of what sort of things we do. So first of all, I have a spiky ball. Now normally I've got shoes on, we would do this in bare feet, but I always get the girls to massage their whole feet with the spiky ball, okay, all the way up to their toes. So you can tell we're doing these preparation exercises first. So we want to stimulate the blood flow from the feet up. So that's going to help us with our exercises later on. So we might start with that. Then I have my trusty little half roller that normally all the girls are facing the bar holding on, but I'm going to do it this way. Our feet are on the roller, half roller. Bare feet is better, but you can do it with shoes. Heels together. We're going to tip our feet forwards and backwards. So while we do this, we're lifting up through our pelvic floor and we're staying in a very nice posture. So it's going to help with our hip stabilizers and our tummy, our core, pelvic floor, and stretch through our calves, okay? We can then easily flip that over and add a more stronger stretch exercise by coming up onto our toes, again, keeping our heels together and looking straight ahead. Up and down on the toes, so we get a stretch in the calf, we get a strengthening in the calf. So we still need to load and stretch these muscles. Then another good standing exercise that I like to do is stretching these muscles here in our waist because they get tight during pregnancy. So we're going to come over and back. So when we come over, we're going to breathe out. When we come back, we breathe in. So we're doing like a dynamic stretch and exercise of our waist muscles. So over and back. So 10 times each direction, making sure that we're nice and grounded through the legs, that our knees are soft and our feet are facing forward. Then everybody has a band usually at home. So we use the band on the bar here, but you can tie it wherever you like. We do some posture exercises to strengthen between our shoulder blades. So these row exercises, making sure again that our posture is perfect, knees soft. So squeezing back and then releasing. So we might breathe out, breathe in to release, or the other way. It doesn't really matter when you do this one. Then we're going to do a bow and arrow type exercise where we're looking over one shoulder. So we're getting some rotation through the upper back because when you're pregnant, you get stiff in the upper back as well. So those exercises are very good for your mobility. So once you've done a few of those, we then get you sitting on a ball. So if you've got a ball at home, we're going to sit on the ball in this nice position and we're going to do some circles. So because we're sitting on the ball, we've got some pressure on the pelvic floor. So when we roll the ball forward, we're going to lift up through the back part of our pelvic floor, the back passage. When we roll the ball back, we're going to lift up through the front part of our pelvic floor, just so that you're aware of the different areas of the pelvic floor, because different parts of the pelvic floor can be stronger than others. Often it weakens in the front, so we need to make sure that we are even on both sides. So we'll do 5 rolls one way, 5 rolls the other. So that's on the ball. We can do a little bit of bouncing on the ball. Bouncing is fine if you're sitting on a ball, so that feels good for the back to do that. And then we can also do some thoracic or upper back rotation by breathing in, turning, and breathing out to look over our shoulder. So we've got a little bit of a twist. Breathe back into the center, breathe out to come onto the other side. So we might do that about 5 times. Then we might test your balance just a little bit by walking out and in on the ball, alternating legs, just to test that a little bit, okay? So they're our sitting exercises. Then we normally get you on the floor. So on the floor, I give everybody a mat. So we might start lying on our back, and we're going to put our feet all the way on the ball with it in nice and close, and our knees just a little bit wide. So we're going to do some gentle rotation. So this is going to help your core and your pelvic floor and your back mobility. So if you get stiff and, well, swollen legs as well, this will help. So we're going to breathe out as we rotate the ball to one side. When we stop, we're going to breathe in. And then as we breathe out, we take the ball to the other side. We're always trying to keep our back fairly close to the mat. And while we're breathing out, we're thinking of lifting through our pelvic floor a bit. When we breathe in, we relax the pelvic floor. When we breathe out, we're going to lift through the pelvic floor. So if there's any discomfort with that exercise, obviously we don't do it. Any discomfort with anything, we don't do it. But then we're going to push the ball out. So there's space between our legs and the ball. And we're going to breathe in to roll the ball in. Breathe out to roll the ball out. So breathe in, relax the pelvic floor. Breathe out, lift up through the pelvic floor. So breathe in to relax, breathe out to lift up, keeping your back close to the floor at the same time. So they're the ball exercises lying on your back. Then we will, very carefully, come back up so that we're going to use the ball in front of us. So this particular exercise is a good practice for in labour as well, if you've got a ball in the labour room. So we're going to rest our chin on our hands and just our chest is on the ball, so we can do our little circles. So this is very good for our back mobility if you're getting any pain, or as your baby grows, your stomach stretches, so this takes the pressure off your belly and your back. So some rolls one way and then the other. So most of the girls find this is their favourite type of exercise, but you can use that in labour, especially if you've got back pain. So then we will test our balance a bit and stretch one leg at a time. So we're trying to keep our pelvis low and just seeing if we can stretch out. So we're getting a stretch and we're getting our core working a little bit at the same time, but with lots of stability here. So again, if there's any pain, then we won't do that one. Then we get rid of the ball. We're going to come on to hands and knees. So this particular exercise is good for your back mobility as well. So we're going to breathe out as we tuck our head and tail all the way under and lift up through our pelvic floor. Then we're going to breathe in to come back to this flat back position, okay? Keeping our shoulders back and down. So we're going to breathe out to come up into this arched back. Breathe in to come back flat. So once we've done about 10 of those, then we're going to go from side to side. So as we breathe out, we're going to turn and look at one foot. Breathe in to come to the center. Breathe out to look at the other foot. Breathe in to come to the center. So that's mobilizing our back the other way. Then we typically do a little bit more core strength. So in this position, holding your belly in as much as you can with your baby, we're going to breathe out to lift one arm and in to lower. Breathe out to lift the other arm, breathe in to lower. So we might do a few of those just with the arms. Then we might do the legs. So we breathe out to take the leg out, breathe in to come back in, breathe out to come out, breathe in to come back in. If that's no problem, then we go opposite arm and leg. So we'll breathe out to come out, breathe in to come in. Making sure that we don't lift up like this, so we're staying nice and low. So breathe out to come out, breathe in to come in. They're the 4-point kneeling exercises. Then we will lie on our side. So again, we still want to maintain this thoracic mobility. So normally I will give you a towel under your head. I won't use one, but we're going to bring our hands together. We're going to open our shoulder up and open our whole back up. Now it's not a shoulder stretch, so our whole body moves back. So we breathe out to come open, breathe in to close. So we will do 10 of those on each side, okay? Then we're going to move our knees back a little bit so our heels are in line with our butt, and we're going to turn our tummy on a little bit first. Feel where the top of our leg bone is, and we're going to do these little clam shells. So we keep our feet together, keep our body in alignment, and we're just going to squeeze our butt right here, opening and closing 10 times on each side. Okay, so this is really important to make sure that you don't rock back to do it. So you shouldn't get a lot of movement. So 10 clam shells on each side. Then we will typically do some stretches because we need to make sure our hamstrings are nice and long. So I'm going to quickly grab my trusty band again. This is the safest way to stretch your hamstrings. So using the band on the ball of the foot and keeping the other leg bent up just to protect your back. So these arms come right down by your side so that you've got good back stability. So that way you can stretch your hamstrings, you can flex and point your toe. If that feels fine, you can hold the band in one hand and put the other hand out to stretch your adductors. So stretching the inside leg muscles, which are important to stretch to prepare for labor. Okay, so that way we use the band. Then I normally will get you up sitting. So we're going to sit in this side sitting position, and we will do this mermaid exercise. Okay, so we'll breathe out to come over, breathe in to come back, breathe out to come over, breathe in to come back. So both sides. Then we'll typically do this hip opening exercise, so feet wider than hips, and we'll just gently mobilize our hips from side to side. To get them released, you get lots of tightness in the hips, so you want to make sure that you push that bottom forward to release through these hip flexors a bit. Then, if your body permits, we're going to keep our legs wide. Normally we have our hands behind here, and use your hands to push you forward so you maintain a nice straight back. It's not important to reach here if you can't do it. So we usually do it with the hands behind, reaching forward. If you're really mobile, then you can put your hands in front. Most women, when they're pregnant, we do this, okay? And then the most important exercise that I haven't shown you, which we do during the class and at the end, is this wide leg child's pose position. So we have our knees wide and toes together, and we reach forward. So this, and then we do some breathing into our back. So in that position, it's a resting position, okay? So between some of the exercises on the floor, if you need a break, then we use that exercise, and we might do it at the end of the class. So that is a really good exercise to do during the class. So that's a bit of a overview of all the exercises that we do in our antenatal classes to help you prepare for your birth.